Hey guys, Coach Steve here again, and it's recovery day. So we've talked a lot about different types of recovery. We've talked about hydration and recovery runs and different types of flexibility and all that kind of stuff. So what I wanted to do today, on top of your recovery run, again, depending on what program you're following, your recovery walk run has something between 15 to 30 minutes today, so you've got that. Let's make sure the intensity doesn't get too fast, 75% as usual. But I've gotten a few questions after we kind of started digging a little bit deeper into flexibility. Most of the flexibility we've been covering, in fact, all of it, has all been kind of solo stuff, right? We talked about dynamic, active, static, all of that. But I've had a few questions recently about partner-assisted stretching. So I've got my partner here, and I want to just talk about some just general kind of do's and don'ts. We're not going to spend a ton of time on a full partner-assisted stretch series, but I do think that there's value in partner-assisted stretching. And for those of you guys out there that maybe you have a training partner, maybe you run with your, your significant other or whatever, maybe you guys end up stretching together too, and I just wanted to answer a few questions, kind of point you in the right direction. So first and foremost, I had a question about PNF stretching, right? So if any of you guys have heard of PNF stretching, basically stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, which is really just kind of a fancy way of saying, hey, with some negative pressure or with some resistance and release, we can get another, 10, 15, 20 degrees on a particular stretch. We're not going to spend a ton of time on PNF stretching today, but I do want to give you guys an example of what it is, and then I want to talk a little bit about some do's and don'ts in terms of just kind of partner-assisted stretching. So real quick, one common PNF stretch is with your hamstrings, right? So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to pick up my partner, just go ahead and relax. I'm going to pick up my partner's leg, and we're going to work on kind of a hamstring stretch real quick. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to lengthen this leg out, and I'm just going to slowly start to raise this leg to the point of discomfort, right? I'm going to want to keep an eye on her face. And the minute her face starts doing this or anything like that, I'm not wanting to push to the point of pain right now. I'm wanting to push to the point of discomfort. So I can push and I can have her just tell me, hey, tell me when you start to feel this kind of get tight. There it is right there, and I'm going to stop. So whether it's with my shoulder, you'll see people sometimes doing this. If you've got a larger client, there's nothing wrong with that, or a partner. If you can handle this just kind of with your hands, you can do that as well. But basically, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to have her start to apply some pressure back against me, and I'm going to count from 5 down to 0. So Maria, what I'd like you to do is start applying pressure. I'm going to resist. We're not moving at all. It's just a static hold. I'm just going to resist that pressure. So here we go. And go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Good. And the minute she relaxes, I'm going to release, and then I'm going to come back up just a little bit more. Same kind of thing. I'm watching her face. I'm wanting to come in. I want to make sure that I'm not getting too tight. And we're going to do a few of those, right? It's important that we communicate well in terms of how far I can push. It's important that she knows when I want her to relax, since we're pushing against each other there. I want to make sure you're just communicating well. So I'm not going to go through a full series of PNF stretches right now, but I did want to answer some of the questions that had come up about PNF. Is it good? What is it? And just some of that stuff. So we can get more into that later, but that's an example of PNF stretching where you've got some resistance and you're relaxing and coming back and doing a few of those. Last thing I want to talk about is just some quick do's and don'ts, and it really just comes around communication, right? And if you notice, when I was using her leg as an example a second ago, I said, hey, I want to kind of watch her face, and I want to pay attention to kind of the tension points or how far I can stretch. So as a general rule, you don't want somebody to push you deep into a stretch that you couldn't get into on your own. I think that's just kind of a good general rule. If she's wanting to raise her leg and I'm going to hold it, maybe I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure, but not a ton. A lot of times I've seen people just kind of cranking on people sometimes, and maybe it's a little old school or whatever. I want to make sure that the general rule is you don't want somebody pushing you too deep into a position that you couldn't get into on your own. The other thing is breathing. I think as a partner, some of the advantages is I can watch, it's very common as someone's stretching without even knowing it for them to be holding their breath, right? So as a partner, I can keep an eye on her and I can make sure she's breathing, give her a little reminder every now and then just to make sure. One thing though that happens ironically is sometimes you end up talking too much. So if I'm making a list of do's and don'ts, one of the things on that don't list is don't talk too much. I think it's important to just allow my partner a chance to just kind of relax a little bit, focus on her breathing, and that's going to allow her to get in and out of some of those stretches and have them be a little bit more effective compared to me trying to hold on a full conversation with her and all that. So don't talk too much, pay attention. The last thing I would say is sometimes our partner's bodies, without even knowing it, will start to compensate. When we stretch too far in one area, it's going to compensate in another. Maybe they start arching their low back, or their head starts shooting forward. So that's another advantage of having a partner there, is the partner can just keep an eye on your posture and make sure that you're not overcompensating in one area to satisfy a stretch in another area. Cool? So again, keep it simple. I love partner-assisted stretching. But remember, we're not professional stretchers at this point, and let's not start getting overcomplicated. Some of the same stretches we've kind of gone through together. I think having a partner can help with that. And again, PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. It's great stuff if you have somebody that knows what they're doing, and we can talk a little bit more about that maybe on another video. But I hope you guys have a good recovery run. I hope you enjoy. If you've got a partner that can get through a little stretch series with you, I think you guys will both enjoy that. As always, if you have any questions, comment below or shoot me a private message. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.